lovelies, welcome to Health Street, and today we are going to talk about a very interesting topic. We are going to talk about immunity, and to make it as easy as possible to understand, because we surely have to mention some terms, I think it is easy if I define the terms first. Okay, so if I define the terms first, so when I mention them as we go on, it's going to be very easy for us to understand what we are talking about, all right? Terms like pathogens, antigens, antibodies, which other terms are there? We have IgA, we have T cells, we have B cells. All those terms, I think I'm going to define them to make our understanding very easy. We generally have two types of immunity. We have the innate immunity, the one that you're born with, and then we have acquired immunity that you acquire as you grow up, as time goes by. So when you're born, your immunity is very young. Actually, you only have one type of immunity, and that is the innate immunity, the one that you're born with, all right? Then as you grow up, you acquire another immunity that we call acquired immunity. So let's first define the terms, and then we'll go on from there. All right, so let's look at some of the terms that we have here. So guys, you'll come across a term like a pathogen. So what are pathogens? So these are microorganisms such as bacteria, viruses, fungi, or parasites that can cause disease in their host organism. All right, so this pathogen, they invade the body and multiply, and this multiplication leads to infection and illness. So if a virus invades your body, it's going to multiply and cause so many viruses. We also have parasites. We've talked about protozoa. I've mentioned them severally. We've talked about bacteria. Fungi can also invade your body. So anything, if anything invades your body, we call it a pathogen. If anything of that sort invades your body, we call it a pathogen. All right? So let's go to the next term, and that is the antigen. So what is an antigen? So an antigen is a molecule, often a protein or a carbohydrate, that is recognized by the immune system as foreign or non-self. So your immune system recognizes this as foreign. Your immune system knows what is supposed to be in your body, and if something else comes in your body, your immune system knows your cells and what is in your cells. So if something else is foreign, either inside or outside the cell, so that is what we call the antigen, and the immune system will recognize this as foreign or non-self. Antigens can come from pathogens, toxins, or other substances, and they trigger an immune response, leading to production of antibodies or activation of immune cells. All right, so if something foreign comes into your body will produce antibodies. And talking of antibodies, what are these? So our next thing will be an antibody. So an antibody is also known as an immunoglobulin. And an antibody is a protein, or an immunoglobulin is a protein produced by the immune system in response to the presence of specific antigens. Antibodies bind to antigens and help to neutralize or eliminate them from the body. They are key component to the immune response and provide targeted protection against pathogens. So you understand how this works. So an antibody, so antigens are foreign substances and they have gotten into your body. What will happen? The body will produce antibodies, and these antibodies are specific to those particular antigens that have invaded your body. So they are going to bind into them and destroy them, and that is how your body fights antigens, okay, or pathogens. So we have T cells, which is our next. So our next term to define is T cells. And what are these things? So T cells are they are also called T lymphocytes. So they are a type of white blood cell. This is a type of white blood cell. We all know that white blood cells are our immune cells. They are the ones that help fight against. They're the ones that fight against infections in our body. But how do they fight? So they have different types of cells, like the T cells. So T cells or lymphocytes are a type of white blood cells that play a role in the adaptive immune responses. T cells are involved in cell-mediated immunity, where so the T cells, they recognize and destroy infected or abnormal cells. You understand? So they recognize it. I told you your body knows what is foreign there. They will recognize it and destroy the infected or abnormal cells, as well as in regulating the immune response and helping coordinate other immune cells. So T cells are usually very active, especially in cancer, in cancer situations. So they're the ones that attack and destroy those foreign cells that are in your bodies. I told you your body knows how your cells are supposed to look. All right. So let's go to the next term, and the next term is B cells. So we've talked about T cells above there. So let's talk about B cells. What are these things? So B cells or B lymphocytes. So this is another type of white blood cell involved in the adaptive immune response. So B cells are responsible for producing antibodies in response to specific antigens. So they are responsible for producing antibodies in response to specific antigens. So this one now, so the other one was attacking directly. So these ones, they produce antibodies in response to specific antigens. They play a crucial role in humoral immunity, where antibodies circulate in the blood and lymphatic system to neutralize pathogens. Do you understand? They play a crucial role in humoral immunity. And what is this humoral immunity? Okay, let's have a look at it. So humoral immunity is the component of the adaptive immune response that involves the production of antibodies by B cells. Antibodies circulate in the blood and lymphatic system, where they bind to antigens and help neutralize pathogens or mark them for destruction by other immune cells. The humoral immunity is the component of adaptive immune system. When we talk about immune systems, you are going to come across this adaptive immunity. All right, we are going to come across this adaptive immune response, and that's what we are talking about. That's what we mean by humoral immunity. So we also have cell-mediated immunity. So cell-mediated immunity is the component of the adaptive immune response that involves the activation of T cells to recognize and destroy infected or abnormal cells. Cell-mediated immunity is particularly important for combating intracellular pathogens such as viruses and controlling cancerous cells. So we have talked about D cells, we have talked about T cells above, and we have talked about B cells. So when you hear about B cells, what should come into your mind is the humoral immunity. And when you hear about T cells, you'll hear about cell-mediated. You will remember about the cell-mediated immunity. All right. So let's go to the next term. We have immunogen. What is an immunogen? This is a substance, typically a protein or carbohydrate, that is capable of inducing an immune response in the body. Immunogens trigger the production of antibodies or activation of immune cells, leading to immunity against specific pathogens or antigens. So guys, when we talk about an immunogen, we're talking about a substance like a vaccine, that something that will be introduced into your body to make your body produce antibodies. We have defined antibodies up there. Yeah. So it will, if it is introduced into your body, it is going to make your body produce antibodies against that which has been introduced into your body. Okay. So we are basically talking about a vaccine and anything else that can trigger antibody production which has been introduced into you. All right. I hope we have defined all terms. Let me see whether we have left any. We left any term. Oh yeah, we have another term. We have the 9th term, which is vaccine. What is a vaccine? So this is a biological preparation that contains antigens derived from a pathogen or immunogen. Vaccines are used to stimulate an immune system to produce an immune response without causing disease, providing protection against future infections by the targeted pathogen. You have heard about tuberculosis vaccines, polio vaccines. What do you think is in those vaccines? Those are weakened forms of viruses, bacteria, or their products. Vaccines are produced in so many ways. So what you have to understand is what a vaccine is, and the biological preparation which has been prepared artificially. So it is not something that your body is producing. Your body will produce an antibody after an introduction of the vaccine. All right? Easy. I give you something, you produce something in relation to what I've given you into your body. So that is a vaccine. So we have another term, IgA. Capital I, small g, and A. What is that? So this is a type of an antibody that plays a crucial role in body's immune defense, particularly at mucosal surfaces such as gastrointestinal tract, respiratory tract, genitourinary tract. IgA antibodies help to neutralize pathogens and prevent them from entering the body's tissues. So when you hear about IgA, this is a type of an antibody. These IgA antibodies usually found in the mucosal surfaces. Which surfaces of your bodies have mucus on them? We have the gastrointestinal tract. If you see your GIT, your genitourinary, your reproductive system and urinary system. We have the respiratory system, the respiratory tract. So all those body surfaces that are lined up with mucus, IgA is there. All right. So I think those are some of the times that we have to understand so that we can go on with our immunity topic. Should we have a second part, or should we just continue with this video? I think we'll have a second video, you guys. Let me have a look at this. So now that we have defined terms in immunity topic, it will be easier for us now to cover the topic. And I'm going to give you a definition of immunity. I'm going to give you the types of immunity, and you'll come across, as I told you, two broad categories of immunity, where we have innate immunity, we have acquired or adaptive immunity. You'll come across terms like local immunity. You'll come across herd immunity. You're going to understand the components of innate immunity. When you're born with this immunity, how are you born with? How does it protect you? What mechanisms does it use? What mechanisms that the adaptive immunity use? Such things. And now that we have defined terms, it's going to be very easy. We are going to flow